Holoship is a very, very good episode in my opinion, and I have a vague memory of reading that this episode was considered lesser of this season, which is a bit disappointing. I consider it a strong one. Maybe it is not as purely funny, or at least the premise isn't a silly one and closer to a hard sci-fi Star Trek premise, though much humour is extracted from the scenario. Plus, I think the attempts at character development are surprisingly really quite strong. I can imagine fans of the show perhaps being let down by the attempt at a slightly more serious episode, especially opening up the season. It might have been better off later in the run, particularly after the events of Terraform or Quarantine, insofar as it would be much better conveying any lasting character development the episode might have upon Rimmer. Fans might prefer silly humour and absurd sci-fi concepts, thinking this one is a slightly pretentious stick in the mud by comparison, but I appreciate the show felt the need or aspiration to go here. Season 5 as a whole is arguably this show's best. In a season when the weakest entry is most likely the aforementioned Terraform, you wind up with an incredibly memorable set of stories. If I don't love Holoship, it is because the sets might seem a bit repetitive and visually stale. Perhaps it doesn't have enough humour to keep it memorable from moment to moment, but the character interactions are really powerful. Rimmer becomes a likeable character for the first time perhaps, and is believably so. It actually feels like a genuine development. We see him as an insecure, nervous wreck, and then as someone who identifies the opportunity to sacrifice his goals for the sake of another's preservation, for the sake of what he can only call a supposedly Hollywood concoction known as love. Maybe a smidge corny, but I also find it quite sweet. It is nice to witness Rimmer have his moment in the sun, based upon his actions on the Holoship at large. He deserved one on this occasion. I consider it setting the season off on an extremely high note.